You walk across that graduation stage, diploma in hand, feeling like you've conquered the world. You've mastered calculus, memorized the periodic table, and can analyze Shakespeare like a literary scholar. But then reality hits like a freight train. You get your first paycheck and stare at it in confusion. What the hell is FACA? Why is your take-home pay so much smaller than your salary? And why does everyone keep talking about credit scores like they're some mystical number that controls your entire existence? Welcome to adulthood, where knowing the quadratic formula won't help you figure out why your bank account is always empty, and understanding mitochondria won't explain why compound interest is apparently the eighth wonder of the world. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why our education system taught us everything except how to actually function as financial adults in the real world. If you're someone who graduated feeling academically prepared but financially clueless, or if you've ever wondered why schools teach you about photosynthesis but not about taxes, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because today we're diving deep into the money skills that school should have taught you but didn't, and why this educational gap is costing Americans nearly hundreds of billions every single year. Here's the thing that absolutely blows my mind. We live in a country where you need a license to drive a car, a permit to fish, and certification to cut hair, but somehow we let 18-year-olds sign student loan documents worth more than most people's cars without teaching them the first thing about interest rates, debt to income ratios, or what happens when you default. It's like handing someone the keys to a Formula One race car after they've only ever ridden a bicycle. The numbers are staggering and frankly embarrassing for a nation that prides itself on financial innovation. According to recent data, only about 30 states require students to take a personal finance course to graduate. That means nearly 3 out of 4 students could walk across that graduation stage without understanding how compound interest works, how to file taxes, or why their credit score matters more than their GPA when they're trying to rent an apartment. And get this, while 68% of teens would eagerly enroll in a financial literacy course if offered, only 31% report having access to such courses at their schools. We're literally creating demand for education that we're refusing to supply. It's like being thirsty in the desert while someone holds a water bottle just out of reach. But here's where it gets really interesting. The states that have implemented mandatory financial education are seeing remarkable results. Take Alabama, for example. Since making financial literacy mandatory in 2013, students report feeling significantly more prepared to handle personal finances than their peers in states without such requirements. Alabama students aren't just more confident about money, they're actually making better financial decisions that follow them well into adulthood. So, why aren't we doing this everywhere? Well, the excuses are as predictable as they are frustrating. Schools claim their curriculum is already overloaded. They're too busy preparing students for standardized tests to teach them how to balance a checkbook. Because apparently, knowing how to bubble in the right answer on a multiple choice test about the Revolutionary War is more important than understanding how to avoid financial ruin in your 20s. Then there's the teacher shortage excuse. Many educators don't feel confident teaching personal finance because, plot twist, they were never taught these skills either. It's a vicious cycle of financial illiteracy perpetuating itself through generations of well-meaning but financially unprepared teachers. Let's talk about what you're actually missing out on, because this isn't just about knowing random financial facts. This is about fundamental life skills that determine whether you'll spend your adult years building wealth or drowning in debt. First up, budgeting. This should be as basic as learning to read, yet less than 1/3 of Americans stick to a detailed budget. Think about that for a second. We're teaching kids advanced trigonometry, but we're not teaching them how to track their income versus their expenses. It's like teaching someone to perform brain surgery, but never showing them how to use a thermometer. Budgeting isn't rocket science, but it is life science. It's literally telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. The 50-30-20 rule is dead simple. 50% of your income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. But somehow, this basic mathematical concept that could transform someone's financial life never makes it into the classroom. Next, we have credit education, which is where things get really criminal. Credit card companies are like predators circling college campuses, offering attractive sign-up bonuses to financially illiterate 18-year-olds. These kids don't understand that credit cards aren't free money. They don't grasp how interest rates work or what happens when you only make minimum payments. Here's a fun fact that should terrify every parent. A credit card with an 18% interest rate will take you over 5 years to pay off if you only make minimum payments on a $1,000 balance. You'll end up paying nearly $800 in interest alone. That's almost doubling your debt just because you didn't understand the math behind credit cards. But credit isn't just about avoiding debt traps. Your credit score affects everything from your ability to rent an apartment to your insurance rates and in some cases even your employment opportunities. Yet most students graduate without understanding what a credit score is, let alone how to build and maintain a good one. Then there's the absolute mind bender that is compound interest. Albert Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the world, saying those who understand it earn it and those who don't pay it. Whether Einstein actually said that or not, the sentiment is absolutely true. Here's the thing about compound interest that will either excite you or depress you depending on which side of the equation you're on. If you start investing just $100 a month at age 15 and earn an average annual return of 6%, you'll have nearly $400,000 by the time you retire. But if you wait until you're 25 to start, you'll only have about $200,000 even if you contribute the same amount every month. That 10-year head start is worth $200,000. $200,000. That's a house in many parts of the country, and it's the difference between starting to invest at 15 versus 25. Yet we're teaching kids about the Pythagorean theorem instead of the power of starting early with investments. The opportunity cost here is staggering. Every year we delay teaching kids about compound interest is potentially costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime. But sure, let's make sure they know about the War of 1812 instead, and don't even get me started on taxes. April 15th rolls around every single year like clockwork, yet somehow millions of Americans feel completely lost when it comes to filing their tax returns. We graduate students who can write essays about symbolism in The Great Gatsby, but they panic when they see a W-2 form. The tax code is complicated, sure, but basic tax literacy isn't rocket science. Understanding the difference between gross and net income, knowing what deductions are, and grasping how tax brackets work are fundamental concepts that every adult needs to know. Yet we're sending kids into the world who think tax brackets mean that earning $1 more might actually decrease their total take-home pay. Home pay. The most ridiculous part about tax illiteracy is that we're missing out on free money. Yes, free money. The American Opportunity Tax Credit can give college students up to $2,500 per year for each of the first 4 years of higher education. The Lifetime Learning Credit is worth up to $2,000 annually for an unlimited number of years, but if you don't know these credits exist or how to claim them, you're essentially writing the government a check for money they don't even want to keep. And here's the kicker. Many young people don't file tax returns